Welcome to Factoring by Grouping Level 1. This trinomial is already written in standard form. Remember, you want to always write your trinomials in standard form before you begin to factor them. So what do I mean by standard form? What I mean is it's written ax squared plus bx plus c. To factor by grouping, what you want to do is you want to multiply the a times the c. So in this case, a times c would be 2 for our a and 21 for our c. Those times each other gives us 42. Here's what we're going to do with that 42. We're going to try to find factor pairs of 42 that when you add them together, you try to get the b term. In this case, the b term is negative 17. So I'm going to make a little chart to keep track of what I've done. In the center column, we're going to write the factor pairs of 42. And the rightmost column, we're going to write what the sum of those factor pairs are. And more specifically, I'm going to write up here what our goal is. Our goal is to find a sum that's negative 17, our b value. So I could just go willy-nilly and start grabbing perfect pairs here, factor pairs for 42, but I can use a little common sense. So for example, that c value is a positive. It's positive 21, which means that, and the b value is negative 17, in combination, I know that my factor pairs both have to be negative because that's the only way I'm going to end up with a positive c term and a negative middle term. So I'm just going to start from scratch here. I'm going to take negative 1 times negative 42. It works because negative 1 times negative 42 is a positive 42. When I add them, I get negative 43. Well, that just doesn't work. It's not negative 17 because remember, that's our goal. I'm going to cross that one out, and I'm going to keep going down the list. Eventually, you guys will use your own intuition, but for now, we're going to be very methodical and just kind of go through all of them, or until we find what we want. So in this case, negative 2 times negative 21 would be the next one. And if I add those together, I get negative 23. Well, that's not negative 17, so this isn't going to work. I'm just going to cross that out. Next, negative 3 times negative 14. If I do that, I get negative 17. Bingo. We just got the magic pair we're looking for, the negative 3 and the negative 14. What that's going to allow us to do is to split the b term up in the original problem. It's going to allow us to split that negative 17 into two terms. So I'm going to rewrite the original over here. It's 2x squared minus 17x plus 21. Okay, I said we're going to split the b term up, so here we go. Instead of negative 17x, I'm going to write negative 3x minus 14x. That came from our goal, the factor pairs that work. And then everything else I'm going to write below that's still there. 2x squared plus 21. Okay, so we haven't really changed the problem. We've just come up with a very specific way to split the b term apart. What you do next is you are going to do the grouping part. So you take the first two terms and you put them together. Then you take the next two terms and you group them together. Keep in mind that that negative sign is inside the grouping on that negative 14x, and it's kind of like there's a little plus here. Everything's still being added together. Once you have these two factors, you're going to find the greatest common factor in each of them. So looking at the first term, the 2x squared minus 3x, the only thing we can factor out is the x. So I'm going to write an x. Then, next to it, I'm going to write what's left. The only thing left is 2x minus 3. Now I'm going to look at the negative 14x plus 21, and I'm going to try to find the GCF. In this case, the GCF would be negative 7. And what's left over would be a 2x and a minus 3. Now you probably noticed something right here, and that is that the 2x minus 3 factor is in both of these terms. Well, what you can do is you can factor the 2x minus 3 out of each of these terms. What do I mean by that? Well, here's a term, and here's another term. In each of these terms, you've got a 2x minus 3. So you can actually pull that out. When you pull it out, I'm going to put it on the outside, the 2x minus 3. And then you're going to multiply by what's left. Well, in the first term, in red here, the only thing left would be the x. This x right here. So I'm going to put an x. In the second term, the only thing left, once I pull out the 2x minus 3, is the negative 7. So, we're done. This thing is completely factored, and we're ready to go.